Hey y'all, it's Gypsy, and I am so excited about this new deck that I got, and I just had to share it with you guys. I came across this on Kickstarter. This is a deck that was done by an artist named James Eads. He is an impressionist artist, so think Van Gogh, Monet, that kind of thing, which is like some of my favorite artwork. I just think that the whole approach to that way of visualizing things is just super awesome. So anyway, I digress. I went ahead and helped to fund his efforts, and in doing so I have acquired myself one of his very first decks that has been released. Here it is, the Prisma Visions Tarot by James Eads. If you haven't seen his website or his artwork yet, I highly encourage you to Google him and go check out his stuff. I've bought a couple of his prints for my daughters, and they just are incredible in person. I mean, and they're just the prints. I can't imagine being in the presence of an actual original. I may freak out. So anyway, let me go ahead and go into the deck. This is the Prisma Visions Tarot. I have already had all three daughters put in their orders for Christmas. Guess what they're getting for Christmas? Here's the inside of the box. This is of the, oh, what was the crazy one that's been going nuts? The Wild Unknown Tarot. Tarot of the Wild Unknown. Not sure. You know what I'm talking about, the black and white one that's all wicked super cool. This is like of the caliber as far as card quality. Okay, so if you're familiar with that deck or you've seen reviews about that deck as far as the people raving about the card quality and the box quality, we're still doing that right here. Very awesome box. It has this little inscription thing here on the inside, which I'm going to keep private for those of you that actually own the deck. Go buy the deck. There is one thing about this deck that is a little bit different, and it has this wild card in it. I've noticed a lot of people are doing this. When I got my 78 tarot, there's like 2 extra wild cards. This one has kind of a wild card. This is the strawberries. And actually, the explanation for it that comes in the guidebook is really pretty awesome, and I think I'm considering and I'm thinking about putting this into my deck. As of right now, it is sitting out to the side because I'm just not ready to deal with a new card in my deck yet. It kind of messes with my OCD type tendency. I need it to go with the right, and it doesn't quite do that. So, but I'm thinking about it. After reading the strawberries explanation, I'm like, you know what, I think it's going to be okay. Here's the book. This is the book that comes with it. It's an awesome guidebook. Considering, you know, the compactness of it, it is what I would compare this to Cyril Marchetti's guidebooks that come with his decks. If you're familiar with his or have bought his directly from his website, his little guidebooks are just, they're so awesome and small and completely full of everything that you actually really need anyway. This one kind of goes along with that. It does that same thing. You've got enough text there that it gives you a little piece of something for every single card. So I'm a big fan of the guidebook. Okay, I have to point this out because this is kind of a cool feature of this guidebook. When you go through it, okay, it has all of the card explanations, right? It's got all of the, it goes through all the suits, all the major arcana, and then you get to the very end and it has a space for notes. But first it says, and now you know. And now you know. Read the book, and now you know. It's awesome. So as for the deck itself, okay, super fly, super duper cool, super uber stupid cool. Here you go. So here's what we're talking about as far as the illustrations. Okay, they are impressionist artwork. They are tons of, you know, elements that come together to make these pictures. Lots of dots. Now, you may start seeing, you know, trends as far as what you're seeing in the cards. It's because the cards, okay, you see how the major arcana, here's one. The major arcana, they have a border around them, right? So here we're looking at the Wheel of Fortune, okay. So it has this border around it. But you'll notice that the pip cards do not have a border. They are all the way to the edge. So if you were to put all of one suit together all along in a row, you're going to get a panoramic picture that actually makes like one gigantic picture. So here's an example, okay? Here we have the Ace of Chalices, right? Now we have the 2 of Chalices. And we have the 3 of Chalices. Then we have the 4 of chalices. So do you see how they're lining up? How awesome is that? I mean, seriously, this is like the coolest thing ever. They make this panoramic and it goes on all the way through the king. So that is like one of the coolest features of this deck. I mean, I cannot say enough about it. I am actually working right now on doing a weekly deck challenge with this deck. And I intend to follow through with it. I'm actually getting up extra early in the morning so that I can make time to do my daily work with this deck. You know, and yes, I do. I'm shuffling it. I am shuffling it all hardcore. You know, it was really funny actually because when I got this deck and I was showing it to Loverboy. Oh, and by the way, you see this gilded. That's right. We got a little silver. I'm a silver girl. I don't really care so much for gold. Yellow gold does not impress me. I love the color of silver. I love silver. So I'm really stoked that he went with silver on these cards because it just makes them so awesome. But anyway, it was funny because when I got this deck, I mean, it's what I do. It's my thing. It's what I have to do with my decks. I shuffle them. And so, you know, I started shuffling them, and as soon as I did this, I mean, it was funny because Loverboy, who's like not a card person, he doesn't really care so much, but even he was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "What?" He was like, "Why are you shuffling them like that? Those are like, you're gonna mess them up." I was like, "Really? You care that I'm messing them up, huh?" That's funny. You know, it struck me as funny. But yeah, I do. I shuffle them straight out, hardcore shuffle them because I have to. That's how I shuffle my cards. I just, you know, I tried doing this gentle thing that I was doing with them, and I'm sorry. That's great for intermittent, and I do that. That's part of my shuffling process, but I mean, that's not all of it. I mean, you got to go for the whole thing. And that's why, you know, with decks that I can't do this with, like Bonefire Tarot, I still am not to a point where I can like shuffle like hard with the Bonefire Tarot. I can't. Oh, look at that. Went all over the place. I can't do it, you know, and so it's frustrating because it's like I need that shuffle. I need that shuffle and I need the bridge. And then I'll do the little, you know, kind of method. But these cards are a great size, obviously, you know, with you know, using coordination and paying attention to what I'm doing, I can actually successfully shuffle these cards without much ado. So there's that, but they are good cards, man. I mean, these are quality cards. These have a nice thickness to them. They're not so thick you can't mess with them, and they're not so thin that they are going to wear out. I feel like they're going to wear out really fast. They do have the gilding on the side, so I'm sure that's something, if you use your cards all the time, it's probably going to wear off. Do you care? I don't know. I don't. But that's it. That's the Prisma Visions Tarot. That is James Eads' latest creation, and I am just stoked that I am one of the first people to have it, and I hope you guys enjoy it, and I highly recommend you, like I said, Google him. Last name Eads, E-A-D-S. First name is James, James, EADS.com. And he's got, you know, he's got all kinds of gorgeous artwork. And like I said, I've bought a couple of his pieces now that are hanging in my daughter's rooms because they're just, I mean, they're numbered, they're signed, you know, I mean, it's all that kind of good stuff. And they're really not that expensive. And it's one of those things, I mean, you'll treasure forever. I mean, his artwork is the shit. Anyway, you guys have a great evening. I hope you liked my little unboxing, and I will talk to you on the flip side.